After the Prophet of Islam, peace and blessings be upon him, who would lead the community, who would protect the faith from those who might twist it for their own gain. This wasn't just a trivial question. It was so critical that some felt it was more important than the Prophet's own burial, rushing to the assembly of Saqafa. If we agree this leadership, this caliphate was necessary, then we have to ask, did the Prophet realize this need? To say he didn't would imply he was unaware of the future dangers of division and apostasy, even though he warned against them. That's unthinkable. So, if he did realize it, did he just leave it unresolved? If so, why? Keeping silent on such a vital matter would be a failure in his prophetic duty. There must have been a plan. The Prophet didn't leave any part of our religion incomplete, so surely he wouldn't leave its future leadership to chance. So what was the plan? Some say it was consensus, or the agreement of the entire community. But is that even possible? Human beings are so different. Getting every single person to agree on one leader seems impossible. History shows us there's always dissent. How could the future of Islam depend on something so unlikely? It just doesn't make sense, and even scholars like Judge Adad-din Aliji wrote that there is no logical or traditional argument for depending on a unanimous election. Okay, so what about a majority vote? The problem is, the majority isn't always right. Sometimes powerful voices and clever tactics can sway the crowd, pushing aside the most competent people for those who are less qualified. We've all seen it happen. A majority can even change its mind later and admit it was wrong. If the election of a caliph goes wrong, who is responsible for the chaos and division that follows? Another idea is to let a small group of influential people, the people of authority, decide. But this just creates a new set of problems. Who are these people? How are they chosen? And wouldn't they just end up fighting amongst themselves, since many of them would want the top job for themselves? Instead of solving the problem of division, it could make it worse. The community would become a pawn in their power games. So if consensus, majority rule, and elite councils are all flawed, what's left? Let's look at what actually happened. Judge Al-Iji points out that the so-called unanimous election of Abu Bakr was really based on the nomination by Umar. And the consultative assembly that chose Uthman really came down to the choice of one man, Abd ar-Rahman. It seems the reality was nomination, not a widespread vote. Abu Bakr himself seemed to understand this. He didn't call for a vote or an assembly to choose his successor. He simply nominated Umar. Even Aisha, on Umar's deathbed, sent a message urging him not to leave the community without a leader. She told him to nominate a successor, fearing mischief and trouble if he didn't. The lesson from this history seems clear. Leaving leadership to the unpredictable winds of elections or councils was seen as a recipe for disaster. The method that was practiced and urged by these early figures was nomination, a clear, decisive action by the current leader to appoint the next, ensuring a stable and guided transition for the entire community. This was seen as the surest way to protect the faith and prevent chaos. Thanks for watching. If you found this perspective interesting, please like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into our history.